First off, I want to apologise for the last video that went up. It was a bit dark, very glitchy stuff, and I think I've got it sorted out now on my phone, but we'll see. Thanks to everyone who's watching again. Thanks for your likes and yeah, subscribe and stuff. It's nice to see that I'm not just John the Baptist into the wilderness. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about how people would interact in a voluntarist society. So like now, in case you hadn't noticed, we don't live in a voluntary society. So it's also like a society that lacks virtue, in the sense that we like to think that even like say the taxes that we pay, and like we talk about them as if like it's charity and stuff, and it's it's not. There's no virtue in doing noble acts that you're forced to do. It's not charity. When we're being, if we actually honestly asked most people, would they voluntarily pay the amount of tax that they pay right now, I'd expect almost everyone would say no. And it's not that like everyone's greedy or anything like that, it's just that I think at some level we all realise that we're getting, we're not being consulted, it's just getting taken away. And so, when something's removed from you, extracted without consent, then that's theft. And I don't really think you can sort of euphemize it away, or try to euphemize it away, but when something's just taken away from you without consent, the word for that is theft. So the reason that I'm talking about this today is, last night some of my dear neighbours, not from like the houses where I live, but just over the way, decided to play the music loud, and he kept it going up until 1 AM. Now the thing is, at 1 AM I'd had enough, and I went and had a word. And so after that, he turned it down. Now the thing is, what some of my other neighbours do is, when this happens, because it happens more often than I'd like, but what they do is they just call the police. No, I don't like calling the police. I think it's just like, I always tell my kids, snitches get stitches, which is like, I don't like people ratting other people out. And what I also think, the reason that it's like applicable, is that calling the police for what someone's doing, I mean, I'm not saying, if I saw a murder, I'd probably call the police. Or, if there was something, if there was an actual crime going on, then yeah, I'd probably call the police. But for something like a neighbour playing the music loud, I'm not going to call the police. I'm going to go and say, can you turn the music down? And the thing is, I don't understand why someone would, like, we're talking midweek. Most people work, especially around here. There are some retired people, but not many. And so, if you're playing your music loud during the week, surely you've got some sort of presence of mind to realise that you're bothering people. You know, you must be bothering people. It's not like it's an open door concert where everyone's there thinking, yeah, I love this music. No, even if someone was playing my favourite Napalm Death song at 1 a.m, I'm not up for it, especially when I've got to work for the next day. So, what we've got is one of the reasons that I think society is so infantilized, like and so immature, it's just for reasons like this. Because if we didn't, if people don't expect to suffer the consequences of their actions. So, I must admit, I wasn't polite last night. I just went up to the fence and shouted through and told them to turn it down. In fact, I asked them to turn it down. So, could you turn the music down, please? Some of us work tomorrow. Or I did shout it through the fence. And he did turn it down. Nobody said anything, nobody said sorry. You know what, I wasn't looking for an apology, I just wanted him to turn the music down. But, you see, what happened there was, if I'd have, I don't know if there would have been a better way to handle it, but I basically had enough. And I think what they perceived was, hold on, there's some guy here who's so mad, he's actually gone out of bed, come down to my fence and shouted at me. I think sometimes you need a bit of that. Because, I'm a big believer in consequences to actions. And I think that's the problem with living in a non-voluntary society. We're sort of mollycoddled. So on one side, not that I was going to do it, but I'm very aware that if I had jumped over the fence and started shouting at them on their property, then I would have got into a lot of trouble. And that's I believe in obviously being a voluntarist and anarchist, I believe in property rights. Like that's sort of like the thing that stands out from like communism or something, where like there's no such thing as private property, or things like that. And it's I very much believe in the sovereignty, like I was saying yesterday, of like the Englishman's home to his castle type of thing. I believe in that. But when we're so mollycoddled by like, oh well, someone's playing the music loud, I'll just call the police. And so all that anyone's kind of expecting is for the police to go around and just like politely ask them to turn the music down, please. It's kind of, it's frustrating to live in that kind of society, because basically people just take the piss. And so I'm not the only one who could hear, I wasn't the only one who could hear the music. In fact, there's like some of my neighbours live much closer. So it must have been much worse. And the thing is, it's Spain, it's the summer. The reason that they're outside at 1 o'clock in the morning listening to music loud is because it's nice, it's warm. Which means that in my bedroom, I've got the window open, because it's warm. And, if you don't know that, then you're just obviously stupid. So like that's just kind of, that's what tonight's thing's going to be saying. If you do it again tonight, I'm going to be shouting through the fence, what is it? Deaf or stupid? That's just what I'm going to ask them. Anyway, so what am I going on about? Well, the point of this is, I understand that to actually get to a point in a functional voluntarist society, people are just going to have to be a lot more mature. It's not going to happen overnight, it's not just, but the thing is right now, the social norm is like, everything's okay until someone complains about it. That sounds kind of reasonable, but It's no self-reflection at all. Does nobody think of the consequences of their actions? That's like, I don't mean to sound like an old fuddy-duddy man, or especially when I haven't had a shave and you can see on my grey hair, I do look like an old man, complaining. But there's just such a lack of concept of future consequences. So, you can see it with all the kids who are like incredibly heavily tattooed at the moment. I mean, I don't know if it's like that everywhere, but it's kind of like that in Spain. And you only have to look at the footballers now, but it's like the Euro 24 games, and you just see the footballers are like crazy amounts of tattoos, even up to the neck and, going onto the face and stuff. And if you're a footballer, that's absolutely fine, because let's face it, you're pretty much set for life. It's not like you're going to have to go and sit down and have a job interview. But you're probably not going to get on the telly, put it that way. You're not going to be a pundit if you've got tattoos all over your face. But, so what do we have? Well, we have like a bunch of kids who are going out and doing the same. And like it's even, I notice it more in the girls. It's like, it's quite, the word I'm looking for in Spanish is llamativo, it makes you, grabs your attention. And so like the amount of girls who've got like tattoos is like, it's very rare to see like a woman between, like over 18 who just has no tattoos at all these days. And that's all, tattoos look, I do think that they look nice, and some of them are very nice and stuff, but the reason I've never got a tattoo is because at quite an early age I realised that like I didn't want to be a prisoner to my younger self. And what I mean by that is, you can do things and they affect your life when you make certain choices when you're young, and they like affect your life as you get older. But most of those things you can either like change your mind, make things better, apologise, whatever. But you get a tattoo, and that's it. That's just there. And it's like, I don't think the same things that I did when I was 18. And I'm not saying that I think, well, yeah, I mean, I wasn't an anarchist when I was 18. I was very much in like the socialist mindset of, what it was kind of, thinking back, was kind of like, well, I haven't got anything, and so I don't care. I think that people should be taxed 50% or whatever, because it didn't even affect me, even though it obviously would have done. But I couldn't conceive of it because I didn't have anything, and I hadn't had time to work for anything to accumulate or anything like that. And so I think that's why like communism and stuff, it's very popular amongst the young because you don't have anything. It's very popular for the poor because they don't have anything. And that's kind of where it cuts off. So the idea of not just living, so we've got this kind of thing where the spiritual teachers talk about living in the now. But when they're saying that, they're not like talking about the now as in the sense of, I'll just, I'll bet the farm on just like the next roll of the dice or something, just live in the now. They're talking about not worrying about, not having the baggage of your past, or like worrying about your projections into the future that haven't happened yet. That it's very easy to just worry about stuff that hasn't happened, and that might never happen, or in all likelihood will never happen. So that's living in the now. But that doesn't mean that you don't prepare for the future. So like, I'm quite into, archetypes and things like that. So, like in the tarot, there's like the major arcana are like sort of, it's like it walks through like the major archetypes of, you know, of our culture, but not just, it's kind of universal across cultures. It's not, I don't mean just like Western culture, I mean like modern human culture. And so, the Xeroth card is the Fool. And so like he's typically pictured of like, he's looking to the sky, he's walking along, he's got his backpack and he looks as if he's about to step off the cliff. And that's kind of like, him living in the now. He's not concerned, he's not concerned with his next step per se. But he's still prepared. He's got his backpack. He's got his provisions. Although he's living in the now, but it's not like he doesn't care if he starves to death, because he's got his provisions with him. And like that's kind of, there's like this fine line between living the now in the sense of not getting caught up in all the things that are in your head, and just like saying, I don't care about anything, and so just forget it, I'll just do what I want. And they're both like living in the now, but they're completely different. And so being a voluntarist, an anarchist, is very much, it's living in the now, but accepting that your now is connected to everyone else's. So it's not the stabilizers are off. There's nothing to protect you from falling off your bike, or there's no guardrails. That's like the if the Fool card was drawn now, there'd be like guardrails all over the place, because we can't take any risks. We're not allowed to hurt ourselves. If I think about when I grew up as a kid, and the way my kids grew up, just the level of risk that was acceptable for me to go through as a child compared to my kids, it's quite, it's laughable. We could just, nobody wore, I don't even know if they wear bike helmets for kids, you know what I mean, when I was little. And now you can't, it's not even in Spain, it's not allowed to let your kids out without a bike helmet, which I think is fine. I think if adults don't want to wear them, then they shouldn't. I personally do wear a bike helmet, just as an aside. But anyway, but the way the kids play in the parks, and I let my kids and encourage my kids to play in the parks. I've had parents come up and tell me off for letting the kids do dangerous things. It's what's the worst thing that can happen? They'll fall off and fall onto the spongy ground and cry a bit. It's just let them play. Or the other day, it's a friend of my daughter's, he went to just go and buy some sweets, and they knocked on the door on the way back, for me to let them in, and I was in the basement, and it took me 20 seconds to come up, and in those 20 seconds, my daughter's friend was terrified, because there was two guys over the road who were just standing, minding their own business, waiting for someone, and she was about to run away because she was so scared that she was going to get abducted. And so, what have these parents done to the kids? I was always told not to go with strangers and don't take sweets off strangers and all this, but between that and being absolutely terrified of being outside, there's a big margin. But anyway, as we were saying, with reference to these people who play the music too loud. It's, you know, that attitude is just extrapolated to the whole of society now. Like nobody seems to want to just take responsibility for themselves and like think perhaps I won't do this because it'll bother someone else. I'm not. When we have a barbecue or like a party or whatever, maybe we'll put the music on, but only it's up to a certain point. Certainly when the sun's gone down, I'm not going to have loud music on. And I'm not thinking, oh, I don't want the police to come. I'm thinking, I don't want to be an arsehole and like annoy my neighbours, the people that I live with. But like, we don't, most of the people around, I don't even know who they are. And they don't even know each other. And it's just, we're such an insular kind of, I only want to interact with my neighbours via the police or something like that. It's just silliness. And it's just not the way to go. I mean, I'm saying this at a time when the UK and France are both about they're in the middle of like election processes, and so people are going out and voting for whatever, but they're mostly going to be going out and voting against certain things. And it's so easy to just find the bad in people and like criticize, and then that, so I'm going to vote against that because I hate that one thing, and like, all right, the thing I'm voting for in theory I don't really know anything about, and I don't particularly like, but I hate the other one, and that's what I'm going to vote against. And it's kind of just like a metaphor for how we live in society. We don't. I have to go and either call the police or go and shout at people. There's no like self-reflection going on of, should I be doing this? Why am I even playing the music loud? Is it better? Am I having a better time? What am I saying? Am I just playing it loud to show how good my music equipment is? And to be fair, it is very good. Like, I was quite impressed that like, it was like, wow, it's loud, it's doing me head in, but it sounds pretty good. I bet he's got a good hi-fi. But what are we doing? Why are we living our lives like at the expense of the people around us anyway? It's just, people think that being an anarchist is like the ultimate selfishness, but like surely, like being a collectivist is the ultimate selfishness, because it's just like, I don't want to look after myself. I want everyone else to look after me, and not only that, I don't even want to trust myself to look after myself. So I want everyone else to force me to just go along and look after myself. And it's so frustrating, because it's just such a waste of time. It's just a waste of effort. We could be doing actual productive things instead of like just arguing against each other, finding the worst in each other and voting against it. It's just, I don't know, maybe it's just because I'm tired today, because I was up till late, and after I had to get out of bed, go down, shout at them. I was obviously annoyed afterwards. I'd already worked myself up. I was angry, but I was angry at them. I was angry at myself for getting so, worked up over a bit of loud music. But it's just, I'm just fed up. Just fed up with people. And now all this election stuff's going on. It's just like, oh God, don't you get it? Do you not get it? These things, they're not changing. You can only vote for the people who are like in front of you anyway. It's not like anyone's radically broken through. Look at like France. So it looks like Le Pen has got like more support than you expected, but she's not going to win, because you've got like the Conservatives saying, oh, we're not going to vote in this region, so they're telling their supporters to vote for the Communists. I mean, what world do we live in, where like someone who could like supposedly be conservative can say, vote for the Communists so the other guy doesn't get in? It's like, aren't we saying that there really are no principles in politics then? I mean, surely that's the definition of there being no principles in someone who's like usually completely opposed, but saying, yo, go and vote communist because we don't want this, whatever you want to call it. And I mean, I get why people, you know, go, oh well, she's racist or she's a fascist, and it's like, you know what? The problem with all this far right stuff, so I think I've said it before, but there really are some nasty right wing, fascist, racist bigots out there. You know, there are a lot of them out there, but they're not in these far right things. You know, like you, especially in Spain, everything's far right. If you're not like a far left, then you're far right. That's all it can be. And you know, I don't know. I mean, we'll just have to see and like reflect on the results after after these elections. Maybe I'll be surprised. I don't know. But it's just kind of depressing that there's so much fervour around these elections, and just we're still going to go to war with Russia. You know, there's still going to be, you know, the people complaining about, you know, migrations and illegal migrants and all that. It's still going to carry on happening. It's just like, it doesn't matter what you think you're voting for or against, nothing's going to change. And that's like, because nothing can change through this process. It all needs to change in here and in here. And it's only then when people start acting like in consequence to like actually caring about society rather than just like suppressing the other half, that we're ever going to get anywhere. You know, it's just not going to happen. Anyway, I think I've depressed myself, so I'm going to ring lunch now. Maybe I'm also a little bit down because my kids are all at camp and I'm kind of missing them, I suppose. It's like normally I get like real life takes me attention away from all this nonsense of politics and stupid people. Like normally my kids are like, you know, require things of me, and so I'm like more busy being a dad than like having to like, you know, have idle time thinking about these stupid things. So maybe that's what's over me as well. Anyway, here's my lunch. Yummy yummy, I'm starving. It's a bit later than I normally eat as well because I been to the physio, getting my shoulder treated, nearly done. It's getting much better. I'm definitely expecting to go back to jiu-jitsu after my summer holidays, so that'll be good. Anyway, Fran has cooked lunch. Thanks for watching. See you again soon, hopefully in a better mood. Have a good day.